Okay guys, in this video we're going to be going over tools that you will need to start in the mechanic trade and get through daily jobs. We're going to go through my entire toolbox and what I use on a daily basis to get the job done. Okay, so starting out on the top shelf, we're going to go over basically everything that you're going to need. So starting out with the top, you're going to need a magnetic tray. You know, you're working in an engine bay, you're working anywhere, put it on a hoist, wherever you're going to be, you know, put nuts, bolts, whatever you want needed. Okay, and then we're going to go to ratchets. I have a big variation. I don't use very many of them. My go-to is my Snap-on Soft Grip 3/8. It's not a flex head because I don't really like the flex head because they break too often on me, so this is my go-to. My next one would be my Snap-on. This one is a flex, but like you can see, it's really wobbly, so I just don't really like them. But whenever I do go to quarter, which is not very often, I do use my Snap-on 1/4-inch flex. Another one that I love, especially when you're doing wheel bearings and stuff and they're tight bolts, is my long. This is a long Snap-on 3/8, which is also good for doing belts and stuff, but I usually just use it doing wheel bearings and stuff. I do have some Maximum ones that I use every now and then. They're not bad. They're actually better than I thought. These two are just normal size ones I don't use often. This one I do use sometimes because it's kind of got a short head on it, which sometimes just helps get into those places you can't reach. And then I recently picked up this one, which is okay. It's kind of just swivels 360 degrees around. It's a cheap one, but it's not bad. And then having a long 1/2-inch flex ratchet is also very good to have for the super tight bolts. And then moving on to the sockets, my daily sockets I use are my Snap-on set. It's not like some are semi-deep, some are shallows. They're all random sizes because I've lost them over time, but still works good. And then I have a set of 1/4-inch that I believe is 4 to 12, which again I don't use very often. The big hexes aren't used often, but I do work on a lot of Germans like Audis and CV axle bolts and stuff like that are all going to be, you know, you got your H819s and stuff like that. And then I have my E-Torque sockets. Again, a lot of German cars. I'll go to my, this is a full set of Maximum 3/8 deep sockets that I rarely use. I like my Snap-on ones because they have the best grip. And then my Snap-on 10 is a short one, so I got a long, this is a new brand I saw. It's called Dynamic. It's not bad actually. It's a deep 10 mil socket. And then in the back I have my impact sockets that I use. They're a mixture of Snap-on, Husky, Milwaukee. They're all random sockets that I use. They get beat up pretty good. Then moving over, I got my 3/8 swivel sockets. I use them sometimes, but not too much. Going further, I have in behind there my normal hexes and Torxes. Pretty much every size that you would need that I use all the time. And then these are good to pick up because when you need them, you really need them, and not a lot of people have them. These are triple square sockets. Again, a lot of German cars carry those. And then I have the same things as the big hexes, but in the SAE. Then in the back, I have other 1/2-inch impact sockets that I don't. These ones I don't use a lot. These ones I use a lot. They're just shallow impact, so 17, 18, 19. Then I have a Snap-on 21. Those ones I use more than these ones. Coming over here, we got spark plug sockets of all shapes and sizes. I like the magnet ones more than the rubber ones with the rubber grip on there. And then in the back I got, you know, 30s, 32s, 3, 4, 5, 6s in the back, multiples of them. These ones I haven't been able to use yet, but I recommend picking these up, not maybe this exact one, but something like it. This is to remove strip bolts and stuff like that, which can be really nice to have. These ones I picked up and actually use a lot more than I thought I would. They are super short sockets compared to, you know, like a normal size socket. For getting into those tight to reach places, they're pretty good. Magnets, again, amazing to have. You drop bolts, you need to pick up a spark plug, whatever. It's going to be super important to get some lights. I have my this is my go-to Snap-on light that I use every day. This one is just from Canadian Tire. I think it's a Moto Master light, which it's not bad. I usually use it to just hang it on the hood and give me some extra light, and then I'll go in with this guy. Then I got this other Snap-on one that hasn't worked in a long time, so I don't really use it too often. Another thing, when you start out, you'll probably do a lot of spark plugs and stuff, so getting one of these spark plug gaps to measure the correct distance between the electrode and the tip is always going to be good to have. These are like $1, so you might as well pick it up. And then I keep my main extension I use, which is my Snap-on. I think this is a 6-inch one, which is, I use it pretty much most jobs I do. And then this little Snap-on one, I thought I would never use, but you never, like, it's crazy how often you'll need that extra ½ inch to get the job done. The tool I use often on my ratchet is this one. It's a Snap-on swivel 3/8 head. I use this one pretty much every day. I've been using it for years, and it's still super tight, which is good. Never falls off, never flings off. Amazing tool. And then something that I wish I would have known when I first started was, whenever you work on a job or you find an extra, this is a 24 mil lug nut off of a big 3500 truck, keep them if you ever get an extra one, because when you're doing brakes and you need to hold that rotor on there and you try to put the lug nut on there and it doesn't fit, you throw this on there first and put the lug nut over top, and it will really help you, just save a lot of time of turning it over and over and over again. It's just kind of a time saver, which is really crucial in this trade. But we'll move on to the next show. Screwdriver drawer. I don't use a lot of these things. If I could tell you what you really need out of this entire drawer, a couple markers. I basically stick to my Snap-on soft grip screwdrivers, a flathead and a Phillips. I use them every single day, pretty much for every job. And I picked up some of these Milwaukee Phillips and flatheads too, because they have the metal tip on the end, so you can kind of use it as a chisel too. The pry tool for the little plastic clips is amazing to have. That's pretty much it that I use in this drawer. The other thing that I would recommend to get is one of these. If you're working unless you're working in a dealership and you don't come across them often, but a lot of Chevys, GM cars, they have side post batteries. So this is a little side post battery terminal. Makes it a lot easier to take off. I've used that many times, but that's pretty much all. I don't really go through a lot of them. I like to stick to more sockets, but we'll head to the next shelf. This drawer is where I keep my hammers and pliers and whatnot. I recently switched over from Snap-on to these new Milwaukee pliers, vice grips, whatever. They're amazing. I love the grips on them, more so than the Snap-on ones. The long needle noses are amazing. You want to pick up one of these battery terminal cleaners, get a lot of different, you want to, like, you can never have too many wrenches, so you want to, get a lot of different sizes of vice grips, wrenches, pliers, and whatnot. I usually keep an extra couple lugs for cars I know that have bad ones, like the Ford Escapes. They always rust out and terrible to have, so I always keep a couple extra. Got my hammer. You'll want to get a mallet so you don't break stuff, because when I first started I broke a lot of stuff just hammering it out. These sockets here are extractor sockets, so if you break a bolt and you drill it out, you can put it inside and try to twist it out. This tool, if you're working in a shop, it doesn't do much for you, but if you're trying to make some money for yourself, you can use it. It's a brake fluid tester to tell you how much water is in the brake fluid, which is pretty good. And then this long tool here is called a pickle fork. Really good when you're first starting out to get loose ball joints and tie rod ends and stuff without breaking it, because I used to just hammer on them and break them. This one takes them out like nothing. I usually keep a couple of extra smaller flashlights in there. Then I got my Snap-on long pry bar that I use daily. But we'll go on to the next drawer. This drawer is kind of my random drawer, and I keep some tools in there. More extractor sockets in there. Got my brake flaring tools, caliper, reader. Got my drill bits, more brake flaring tools. I keep my test light in here. I got a mini torch for melting heat shrink. Wire stripper, some electric tape, some solder. These here are really good to have, the little punches for when you're going to drill a hole. Instead of having to use a punch to hammer it, you just press down and it will automatically give you a pilot hole, which is really nice to have. I got some wires in there. This is kind of a random drawer of stuff that sometimes I don't use. Got my antifreeze tester in there, some paper clips, some random tape. This is kind of just a random drawer. We'll go on to the next one. This is my wrenches, and I keep some picks in here. I got my Snap-on ones, which are the best. Milwaukee ones are alright, but the Snap-on ones are more durable. These are pretty good. They're double-ended Snap-on long wrenches, which I actually use all the time. They're great. but expensive. So when you're first starting out, you can get a cheaper one, but definitely if you're gonna be working daily, I would recommend. These ones are a maximum / gear wrench ratchet wrenches, which are amazing to have, you know, especially when you do struts and you got to hold it. Just makes the job go by faster. Getting some stubby wrenches is always good, you know, for the small to reach places. They're always amazing to have. The crow feet wrench ends are good when you need to do O2 sensors and whatnot. I don't use these often, but whenever I do O2 sensors, I usually bust them out. Then I have my 7 to 19 mil snap-on wrenches. These are amazing, especially if you're going to be doing alignments. They have the best grip, you'll never slip off. And then for my bigger ones for alignments, I have Matco 20 to 24, which again, and they also are ratchet wrenches too. These things are amazing. I've beat them up for years and I've never had anything happen. Next shelf, I got my master screwdriver set from Snap-on. Pricey, but you know, especially if you're going to be using an impact driver, you get all the different sockets and sizes you need. It's good to have. Got a cheap little battery tester there. Go test your battery, starter, alternator. I think it was like 50 bucks from Princess Auto, but hey, it works. Got some more tape. I have that's a factory scanner for Audi. I do a lot of Audi Volkswagen jobs, so that was good to have. If you're going to be working on a dealer, it's a good idea to get their factory scanner because it will read the data more properly with the cars. And then you'll want to get some sort of scan tool. This is a Autel MS906. It was like $2,000, but you don't need to go that crazy, but you definitely want to get something that can, you know, read live data and get into the TCM and all that stuff. But we'll move on to the next. Move on to the next drawer. I like to keep some nut and bolt kits in here. I keep them from other jobs. Sometimes they go on sale 15 bucks, so I pick them up. You never know when you're gonna need it. I got a kit of shrink wrap. It's all different sizes, shapes, amazing to have. Again, it goes on sale for like 5-10 bucks. Keep my torque wrenches in here, so I got 3 different torque wrenches. I got my 1/2 inch, which is good for wheels and anything major, wheel bearings, whatnot. I got my little I just picked this one up. It's a 1/4 inch digital one. It goes, it's not bad. It's not, it was just a cheap one, so it's not super accurate, but it's okay. One of the best, like I recommend that you get a 1/2 inch and a 3/8 one. The 3/8 one goes 10 to 80. Especially when you're first starting out, you need it. When you're doing oil changes, you know, you get a steel bolt going into aluminum pan, easy to strip. Check your specs and use that. Keep my other extensions in here. I got all shapes and sizes, including the super long ones, which is good for, you know, doing trannies, taking out the bell housing bolts. Got my breaker bar in there. This is good to have when you get a little more intermediate, start doing some exhaust work. It will expand the tailpipe, which is good. You know, sometimes you get a 2 1/4 pipe and you get a 2 1/4 replacement pipe and it just doesn't go over. You can extend it, you know, 1/4 inch and get them over there. And here I got my camera. You can, you know, whenever put it down a spark plug hole, you can see if it's flooded, got gas in there, carbon buildup, whatever you need. Again, that's more when you get a little bit advanced, but great tool. The next drawer. This is where I keep some of my full kits and some other junk. I got some AC, which this stuff's not really good to use in your car, so I wouldn't recommend, but it's for my personal car. I can fix it later. Got some liquid wrench lubricant in there. I keep zip ties in here. Got all my brake lubes and my NECs, some spare sockets. Got oil filter sockets. Those are more for Germans and Dodges that have the you know, 24 mils and 27 mils. Got my brake wind back tool kit. That's for older cars that don't have the electric parking brake. Sometimes you gotta get that kit, so definitely needed this. Use it daily. Alternator toolkit doesn't really be used anymore. Before, you used to be able to instead of replacing the alternator, you could just replace the pulley itself, but that I haven't used in a long time because now we just replace the alternators. But all right, going into the next drawer, this is where a lot of the money is. So I got my rigid 1/2 inch impact gun. I don't use really air tools anymore. I like to stick to electric. Got my Snap-on 3/8 electric ratchet. That's a beautiful tool. Got my Milwaukee electric soldering iron there, which sometimes I use. I do a lot of crimping nowadays, but when you need it, it's good to have. Got a rigid drill, which works perfect. It's nothing fancy, but it gets the job done. This is probably one of my most used tools. It's the Snap-on 14.4 volt 3/8 electric gun. Expensive, but like I said, I use it every day. Takes over my ratchet. I love it. This new tool I picked up here is unbelievable. It's the Milwaukee die grinder. And you can get this, it's called a mandrel. You put the mandrel on there, you can get these sanding pads, great for cleaning up brakes, you know, hubs for when you put bearings in. completely recommend this tool, 100%. I could never go back. I like it more than the Air ones. It's super powerful and you can take it anywhere you go. Some cheap Walmart drills that I don't even use anymore. Got a Stanley Air ratchet, which I don't think these have any better breakaway power than the electric one, so I don't use this. I got a CP impact gun that I used to use all the time, but now I'm sticking to electric. A couple impact drivers that I don't really use too much because I like to stick with my 14.4 snap-on gun. This gun is only a couple months old and you can already see the amount of wear and tear it's got in there, so definitely would recommend getting a decent set of electric tools. And electric is taking over air, and some, you know, you can take them home and use them. You can sometimes in the shop there'll be a random job outside, you got to take a tire off, change something quick if you don't have a hoist available. So, you know, other guys, they can't do it because they don't have any electric tools. Me, I can take this stuff with me on the go and get it done. Next drawer, I just keep some random stuff. I got a little torch there that I use sometimes for loosening up the bolts to hold the rotor on calipers so they don't rust off. I keep some extra brake fluid and chargers. I got a Sawzall in here, some sandpaper, my extra chargers, some spring compressors, just random tools that aren't used often, but they get their use every now and then. The last drawer, I think every toolbox has one of these. It's kind of a junk drawer. Any old places I worked at, or boxes, random old parts, I throw them in here. You never know when you're going to need it. I got oil filters in here from old trucks when I used to work at Ford and whatnot. Good to have, but this is a junk drawer. I just throw my stuff. When you have a long day, sometimes it's good to sit down, so I recommend getting one of these. It's a little mechanics creeper stool, and I like the ones that have the little tray on the bottom there, so you can store some tools in there. It's better than throwing them on the ground or getting them everywhere. Takes it off your feet. You can lower the hoist a little bit, sit down, do some breaks. I think I picked this one up for like 40-50 bucks. Can't beat. If you're planning on working at home, you're gonna need some brake clean for jobs. I got a bench grinder that I use all the time. You're gonna need that for cleaning up, you know, slide pins, rusted bolts, whatnot. Then got my chargers for my electric tools, got my heater, got my snap-on, got extra batteries. I keep my box, but I always have spares on the go for when I need them. That's what's great about electric tools. You can take them everywhere you go. I usually keep these little clips on the side of my box too. It's great for holding up work orders and whatever you got on the go. Those are like $1 from Dollarama, so they're great add-on. Overall, I got about 20 grand in tools in my box. A lot of it is snap-on, so it can be more expensive, but overall you probably, with 5 grand, you can probably get everything you need. But a lot of things I've highlighted in the video are crucial to have during day jobs that you will just get, like, you'll get hammered if you don't have them, and it's not fun when you got to go around asking everyone for tools. So I hope this helped, and if you get some of these basic tools, you'll be fine in the trade. Just learn how to use them and you'll be all right. I'm going to be posting some videos on fixing cars and teaching you guys how to do some basic repairs properly. A lot of guys out there that don't know what they're doing, so I'm going to be going over everything and tips and techniques on how to get the job done properly and efficiently so that everyone is happy and stays safe. Thank you.